Hey, it's been a while. Happy holidays. Things have been kind of quiet over here, so I apologize for that. This week should be interesting. We're going to have another chapter of Rent-A-Girlfriend, chapter 264. Next week, there will again not be a chapter. However, there should be a decent amount to cover with this one. I will say right off the bat, I've been spoiled just a tad, twice on the same exact image. So, you know, it is what it is. But without further ado, hi, I'm Faye. We talk about Rent-A-Girlfriend stuff, and today I'm going to look at chapter 264 of Rent-A-Girlfriend, just like I said 2 seconds ago. Okay, les mosey. A misunderstanding and commotion as she goes to the bathroom, resulting in a painful finger. As a result, a listless morning follows. Bzz, bzz, I'm sleepy, please let me die. Is that his alarm? Ouch. I love his face. I don't want to get up. My finger. Ooh. Chapter 264, The Girlfriend and the Bandage. Miyajima Reiji. Oh, straight to the point. Okay, so it's the finger. You know it's the finger. Miyajima Reiji, Sayuri-san's pencil sharpener. Huh? It's her birthday? Oh, many didn't know. Oh, she's just chilling in his room. That's so cute. Look at them. They're just buddies. Ah, they're just buddies. I love it. Why didn't you tell me before? I can't believe she has the same birthday as Kirari Tomakaya from Idolfest Billion. Okay. This made me think of how Kana Hariyama, the character designer for Kanojo, Okarishimasu, Rent-A-Girlfriend, Kanokari, she worked on an idol anime, and you know, she tried to use some of that like stylistic style that idol anime had for season 2. I think it like worked and it didn't work, but I just think it's interesting that Minnie likes this like idol group, and there's all this idol discussion going on. We have Oshinoko coming out soon. You know, it's funny, even Kana Hariyama is working on Oshinoko. She's the character designer for that too. So I don't know, it just clicked in my head. It just kind of worked in my head. I don't think it makes much sense, but maybe it does. I don't know. Pickled plums? You gave her pickled plums last year? Please don't say it like that. You're a failure of a housemate if you can't celebrate your host's birthday. Pickled plums. So she said it's unnecessary. That sounds just like her. She's human too, though. There's no way she wouldn't enjoy it if we did something for her birthday. I think so too. But now that she's said that, it's hard to do anything. Sue me. Let's be real, fellas. Sue me. I want to try and find out what she likes, but she's pretty busy these days and often isn't home until late. She left early today too. I've got plans tonight also. By tomorrow, it might be too late to try and find out. Editor's note, this line reminds me of chapter 66 through 69. If you guys don't know which one that is, it's when Kazuya tries to figure out what to get Chizuru for her birthday after they have a misunderstanding between Ruka and him and Chizuru. And it's pretty interesting that we have this whole misunderstanding thing happening from last chapter that comes into play in this chapter, except it's not as big a deal, and that kind of shows the progression of their relationship, but it also calls back to how Sumi's going to be relevant here, and Kazuya trying to find out what to get Chizuru because he doesn't know what she likes, hence why Sumi's important, because this is exactly what she does. And of course, in that time, they also end up going to Chizuru's play, which is the whole Power Rangers play. So yeah, interesting reference here. Didn't think about that the first time, mentioned it here. She has a play tomorrow, so she's gone for rehearsal, huh? Though we're living together, it feels like we're still far apart. Yep. Oh, it's so late already. We'll keep my plans open tomorrow. Need to go to school? Yeah. Stuff isn't really going the way I want it to. Yeah. Gotta take hold of the situation. Get some control. Should I take a shower? I feel like I stink. Mizuhara still isn't home. The lights are off. And Yumori-san was saying she had plans. Huh? How unusual. The dishes, they're piled up, though they might be Yumori-san's. Mizuhara always washes them right away. She probably won't have a problem if I do them instead. Look at him! This is actually interesting. Kazuya can't take action with the whole birthday stuff, so he's trying to take action in other ways. This is an interesting shift for his character, and it is kind of symbolic. These little stuff, sometimes they feel like they don't hold much meaning. In fact, they actually kind of do. These kinds of stuff tend to actually hold a lot of meaning, just because like little subtleties indicate to you the character changes. It's also important for Kazuya's character because it shows how he's slowly changing in this time, becoming a little more comfortable around the household and just kind of doing stuff around the house. For instance, instance, you see him take a shower, something he was really like kind of uncomfortable with at first. Now he just kind of goes and does it. He wasn't sure, but he does it. And then the same thing with the dishes. He sees the dishes and he's like, I'm not sure, but I should probably do it. I mean, she won't mind. And so just those little things help to characterize Kazuya and how he's changing in this time and what he wants to do moving forward, because the whole thing these characters are kind of going through is like this whole change and uncomfortability of what they can and they cannot do around each other and just in general. It's really her birthday, huh? What should I do? Should I ask her about this again? Will she think I'm annoying? But like Yamori-san was saying, I'm in debt to her staying at her place. Ugh, I can't stand around doing nothing. I want to do something for her. What did I just fucking say? I'm home. Mizuhara, she's on her way to the zone. What if I try and hurry out? That'll only seem more suspicious. I'll just wait here for her. Oh, you're over here. Sorry, I took a shower. I just thought since I'm over here, I could take care of the dishes too. I see. Thanks. You're welcome. You're back early. Look how he's posing. Look how he's fucking posing. What a dumbass. You're back early today. Yeah, I do have days like that. Well, we just thought we shouldn't be going too hard right before the big day. Sorry for all the commotion in the morning. All right, then I'll go back to my room. Don't pry, don't pry. Hey, what's up with that finger? Hi, future me here again. So I thought of this while I was reading it, but for some reason I didn't say it. I went through the whole recording. I didn't say it. I liked how in this scene Chizuru's being really perceptive of Kazuya. This is a reoccurring pattern in these chapters ever since they moved in, where Chizuru has been extremely perceptive of Kazuya, what he's feeling, what he's going through, if there's anything unusual with him. And in this case, it's something so small. It's his goddamn pinky finger, and she fucking noticed that it was hurt. Like, that's how perceptive Chizuru is of Kazuya. That's how much she pays attention to him. That's how much she cares about him. And I love the angle that Reiji uses from this, because it's literally the other side of his hand. Like, she literally has a shitty angle. She can't even see it that well. So in a way, it captures how well Chizuru understands Kazuya. She literally sees something wrong from like an angle that she shouldn't be able to see from. Kind of like, it's the back of her hand. This is the whole point of that perspective, is that it's establishing that Chizuru kind of knows Kazuya almost like she knows herself. I got stuck in the door. It's school. It's fine. It's just a bruise. I can't tell her this happened yesterday. Come here for a sec. Huh? The first aid kit is in the cabinet in the living room. Don't forget. Yeah. Aww. Yeah, this is also symbolic. They're both going through like a healing process. Ooh, what's happening right now? She's so close. Mizuhara is bandaging my finger, even though she must be tired after rehearsal, and she smells so pleasant. Yo, this is a really pretty shot, and again, it kind of invokes that theme of healing. I really like that. She's an angel among angels. Saint Mizula. Are you trying to do something nice, huh? The dishes. Knowing you, you're probably doing something nice, so it's my birthday tomorrow. She's sharp. No, that's the case. You know, it doesn't feel right not to do anything at all. This is so nice. They're communicating. This is so fucking nice, dude. I love this. The subtle transition of Kazuya slowly becoming more comfortable at talking to her, becoming more comfortable at expressing himself around her despite the distance he feels. It's so interesting how they're distant from each other, how Kazuya feels distant from her. Yet at the same time, because they're staying with each other, because they're staying in the same home and interacting, they're becoming more and more comfortable around one another, more casual, and are able to express themselves a little bit more naturally. Like, this feels so natural, and it's specifically being done to juxtapose the early parts of the series where they kind of have those natural moments, but those natural moments are also unnatural because of the inherent nature of their relationship being that of rental and client. While here, it's a lot more normal. I really like that. Jeez, you say that, but you force yourself to do something nice with an injury like that. Now who's the one who's doing something for who? Huh? I appreciate the gesture. Thank you. This is a reference to what happened right after Chizuru's play, and this was cut out from the anime. I believe it is chapter 50-something. My God, I love his stupid chubby face here. It looks so cute. All right, please be careful. She even goes so far as to thank me. Ooh, I'm totally stuck now. I'm happy she appreciates me. But once she's done with the play tomorrow, she'll just get back to home and go to sleep. Will that seriously be it? Is that really going to be it? We do gift wrapping. Thank you. Ah, there she is. Nanami. Okay, we're seeing Mami. Mami-san, aren't you the one who's lying to herself about her feelings? Don't you think that being this obsessive with Kazuya-kun is weird? The reason I paused is because I saw the line, oh, that's a lot of fucking messages. Why does Mami have so many messages? Is she just not interacting with people? It's not too late to examine how you feel. No, I just got here too. Let's go to the cafe. You're probably tired of my apologies too. Huh? That's all? But yes, notice how this scene is framed differently. This is kind of important because how we see things and how other characters see things are not the same. Ah, there it is. Sis, I want food. Shut up! We'll have a lead color page next issue. Next time, birthday. How will Mizuharu's birthday go, and what is up with Mami at the other end? So, this is a reference to chapter 20. In the anime, this was slightly adjusted because in the anime what they did is they took two separate scenes and they put them together. They took the scene that takes place right after Mami interacts with Sumi for the first time and they put it together with this scene which takes place right after Kazuya and Chizuru say they got back together. So this is a reference to that. This chapter references chapter 20, chapter 55. Chapter 55 was cut from the anime. Let me pull it up really quick. So this chapter was cut from the anime and it's Kazuya's dad finding out about, or Kazuya's dad going to his home and Kazuya thought he found out, and it's because Kazuya's dad sees he took the money from Chizuru. It ends up being a misunderstanding, which is really interesting considering how centered around misunderstandings this chapter is. So you have this entire misunderstanding with Kazuya's dad. Kazuya stands up to his dad and he's like, no, you totally misunderstand. I'm serious, I'm committed to her. And then the whole chapter sequence ends. This is really interesting because you have like a whole misunderstanding happening in the last chapter, but what about in this chapter? Is just chapters referencing that one. So once we break that down a little bit more, there's gonna be more to this. Another thing too is like you have this entire interaction with Chizuru that happens, and look at what happens at the very end of that. No thank you for the other day. It's quite similar, and it's interesting because in this scene, Kazuya is also hurt. He got smacked in his face because of his dad. And you have this scene, and look at this. It's almost identical in nature because Chizuru's right in front of him. She's really close, and she's kneeling down in that very similar position. The only difference is, in this scene, what ends up happening is, I know it's stupid, but truth be told, it made me really happy. In this chapter, Chizuru says she appreciates Kazuya, but she doesn't say like it made her really happy. She's just being really thankful to him. And Kazuya still wants to do more. In contrast to this scene where it's a little bit different, where Kazuya already did the thing that made her happy and she openly admits that she's happy. Then Kazuya, again, has a similar reaction to that. Blushes, looks at her chest, and she smacks him. And this is interesting because in this chapter, she spends most of it doing the very opposite. She's healing him. This is what I mean. Reiji's nailing down this theme of healing and basically atoning for your past mistakes and your sins and trying to be better. This is what Chizuru's trying to do. She's trying to be worthy of the relationship that she has with Kazuya, and she's trying to be able to feel worthy of her connection with him because she did a lot wrong by him, whether it be in Paradise, whether it be a lot of the stuff that was going on. This is why her comparison to Mami is so interesting and why it's so specifically happening, because what it's doing for Mami's character is that Mami specifically being the complete opposite of Chizuru. Chizuru's stopping herself from being swept away by her own emotions in order to do what she believes is the right thing. She's very much trying to do the right thing by Kazuya, and so she feels like she earned this kind of relationship. This is really interesting because in the very early parts of the series, that's what Kazuya is kind of going through. He's trying to earn this relationship, and even now you see parts of this where Kazuya is still doing kind of that. But in contrast to Mami just kind of gets swept away by her emotion and just kind of lets that take hold and control her. So you're seeing these two characters who are essentially trying to do the same thing, going about it in completely different approaches, where this is why chapter 237 is a reference to chapter 263, because there you have like panels literally being fucking identical but it's on purpose that they're different. It's on purpose that what's happening in those chapters doesn't match, and the people who are in the position of like the leading position are actually swapped, as in Mami looks like Chizuru, but she's actually in Kazuya's position, while Kazuya looks like his regular self, but he's actually in the leading position, just like Chizuru was in the leading position in that date. But then they meet at a middle point. In contrast with Mami, they don't actually meet at a middle point. You're left confused and don't understand what's going on, while in 237 you know exactly what's going on. Let's see here. At the very beginning, we have Kazuya trying to be active, just like Kazuya was trying to be active at the time. That was reference to chapter 52. Yeah, chapter 52 and 53 are like the important references for last chapter, just as this chapter is the important references are chapter 55. So I do think that's interesting. And in chapter 54, that's actually when Sumi comes in, and it's interesting that we end up seeing Sumi like at the very end of this one. So Sumi is here. She gets one page. She gets one fucking page, and she's smiling, and she got Chizuru's gift. It's gonna be interesting if she just goes straight to Chizuru's home and just like finds out about Kazuya like that. So that would be kind of interesting. I do think Minnie's gonna be involved in this somehow. Minnie's gonna just be her specific like backup role that we're all like really familiar with at this point. So I do think that's what's gonna happen. And then you go to Mami, and it's as you can see, literally kind of structured the same. She ends up in her home. She's looking at her phone. Even have the same teddy bear that's like near her. Yeah, same exact teddy bear. She's looking at her phone, and her brother again kind of shows up, and she tells him to fuck off just like last time. And she's looking at her phone. She sees a picture of Kazuya. Falling in love is just painful, in contrast to now, where Mami very much, she's essentially accepting the emotion, just kind of letting it kind of out. And in contrast to falling in love is painful, now she really wants to fall in love. She look at her like, just what more do I need to say? It's gonna be interesting to see what ends up happening with Mami. I wonder if she's gonna be playing like a more backgroundish role, or if she's gonna become a little bit more active and try to interact. That's gonna be really interesting. It's also interesting that like there's again the whole theme of Mami just not like saying sorry about everything that happened in it before, where she had all these issues happening. And this is interesting too. Like Mami has 239 messages online. Is she just not responding to people? What the fuck's going on? Like this could be like foreshadowing for something. Like why does Mami have so many goddamn messages and she's just like not talking to people? Like what the heck is that? That's going to be interesting. You have this whole thing that's referenced to the tea. It's you can tell there's a sense of unbalance happening here. One tea is completely like empty, one tea is completely full. This is highlighting Mami's imbalance and what was going on, the whole situation that she had with Kazuya, where you see her in the last chapter drinking like the cup of tea, and she just drinks the whole thing for herself. And that's kind of what I mean, is like Mami is like kind of really new to this whole emotional spectrum thing, where she's trying to let herself have these emotions. And because of that, she unintentionally is doing the wrong thing, because she's letting herself get swept away by the emotion, but she's not apologizing for the mistakes that she's made. She's not admitting to the stuff that she did wrong. And then there's also this line that Minnie says here, where Minnie's starting to recognize that Chizuru is also human, and I kind of like that. It's also showing how Minnie and Kazuya are both kind of adjusting, and they're both like buddies planning for this kind of thing. So that's also another interesting thing that's happening, where you have this sense of contrast being applied to the characters, where Minnie constantly says Chizuru's like a robot, but now we're getting to this point where Minnie is like kind of flipping that concept on its head in her own right, where she actually admits, yeah, Chizuru's probably human too. We should probably do this kind of birthday. And it almost seems like Minnie and Kazuya are planning. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening next chapter. I do think we're going to end up seeing the play. Maybe we'll end up seeing the play. I'm curious if the play will be as like big as we think it is. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it won't have like the same similar impact, but we will get to watch it, and it'll definitely be a reference to it's going to be a reference to the original play for sure, but it's probably also going to be a reference to the play Kazuya and Sumi went to when Kazuya was trying to find a gift for Chizuru for her birthday. And that play, Chizuru was playing a Power Ranger. So I do think it's going to be a reference to that, and it's going to be a reference to this. The reason Reishi's doing all of these crazy fucking references, and why these chapters are going honka bunka crazy weirdo fuck shit, and where it's like calling back to the very beginning of the series, is the whole point. Is like we're coming back to like the original stuff that was going on at the start of this series, and we're flipping these concepts on their heads, because these characters are not the same, and you're essentially getting these comparisons to show the differences between who they were now and who they are now. And And it's also being done specifically because this is a new arc towards the story. The story is very different from what it was back then. It's extremely different, to where like the whole point is to create that juxtaposition for you as the reader. The whole point is to make you stop and look. It's like, wow, we're in a really different territory for the story now, because these characters are genuinely trying to like overcome these aspects of themselves that they've used as crutches, they've used as ways to hold themselves back. In this instance, for Kazuya's character, it's mostly not about like feeling worthy, but rather accepting that he's always been worthy. The issue is like people read the story in a very linear way, and they see Kazuya as he sees himself. And so even though Kazuya makes mistakes, you also get constant like juxtaposition to that, to where Kazuya is constantly empathetic. He wants to change, he wants to improve. And so you're seeing even early Kazuya have the capability to always be a good person, and you kind of see that become like his character in this time. So after Paradise, what ends up happening is Kazuya is trying to like essentially touch at the core of who he is, because the whole point of Paradise was touching at the core of their insecurities, their fears, and their worries. So if you fully understand yourself and who you want to be, you'll transition to a new phase of your life. And I think this is what this arc is doing, and this is why it's specifically comparing and juxtaposing these early parts, where you're seeing the two characters having these juxtaposing dynamics, where like one's a realist, one's a dreamer. Now it's like you're finding a middle ground between being a realist and a dreamer. This part's important for Kazuya's character, because what you're seeing is that Kazuya is going out of his way to do something, because he wants to do something, anything for Chizuru. And when you're seeing him do this, it's just literally symbolic of him needing to do something, anything for her. And so he just cleans the dishes because that's all he can think of at that moment. You're seeing how Kazuya is actively trying to change, not for himself, but for someone else. There's also an interesting juxtaposition happening between the clothes the characters are wearing. I do want to also point that out. Kazuya is wearing a white shirt with a black center that's like a ghost, and he's wearing black pants. You have Chizuru, who's wearing a black top, and then she's just wearing jeans underneath, and it's more polka dots. So it's interesting how that also kind of mirrors what was going on with Mami's character, where her clothes also did that kind of symbolic thing, where she's wearing white on the outside, but she has a black shirt on the inside, or a black top on the inside, and the black top is symbolic of what she's trying to hide, the blackness underneath. While in Chizuru's case here, it's like the blackness is on the outside, because like she's trying to atone and fix things, then that's kind of how she views herself in some ways. And then you have the whites, the polka dots white on the top right here, where that is like kind of coming out, where you're seeing her kindness, her empathy starting to come out. So just little interesting details like that. I really like that. Again, I also like this scene where Kazuya and Chizuru are like actually having a conversation, where he actually like says what he wants to say to her, even though he's looking away. And this juxtaposes everything that's been happening up until this point, where Kazuya doesn't tell her what he feels or what he's thinking. And then you have this scene where Chizuru tells him how she feels and what she's thinking, just as Kazuya was like talking to her. So in this, Kazuya was just being normal himself and expressive, and here Chizuru is being realistic to him. In contrast, chapter 64, Kazuya is trying to be honest with her, and then she's just being normal around him. Their roles swapped, flipped on top of their head. I'm excited. I think we're gonna see Sumi next chapter. It only makes sense. I was right. I did say that Sumi would come back in this chapter, so I was right for one page. We got to see her, so this is like the final step until things really kick into gear. So I do think this is a really good chapter to end the year with. It makes perfect sense. It sets the tone for how the rest of the year is gonna be like for Rent-A-Girlfriend, where it's gonna be a lot more fun, charming, and cute. Another thing too, last thing I wanted to point out is you're seeing there's so much symbolism in Mami's room, like the pillow with hearts, the like all the stuff, like the way she's sitting. Even the way she's sitting kind of reminds me of right after Chizuru heard what Kazi had to say in chapter 174, which was a reference last chapter. So that is interesting that this might be also a reference to chapter 175, but the dynamic is also flipped. Chapter 175 was the final setup before shit kicked into gear with the Paradise arc. This was the arc where shit was just about to kick into gear with Paradise. And that's the one where Kazi interacts with friends and stuff. This isn't so much a blatant reference as the one where you gotta pay attention, but it ends with this, and you have this happening. And it's interesting that we have this spread when we get a spread like this with Mami, where she's also being kind of weird about her emotions and her love. And here she's more demonic and doomy, so you're seeing different juxtapositions happening between the characters. You're seeing like the complexity of Chizuru, the simplicity of Kazuya, and the starkness of Mami. While in this chapter, you're seeing very different things. You're seeing the compassion and emotion from Mami, the detail of Mami. You're seeing Sumi, the very expressive, heartwarming nature of Sumi. And then you're seeing the normalcy, the comfortability that you feel around Chizuru, just trying to let out her emotions and express herself. Oh wait, I forgot about Minnie. So, okay, maybe just put Minnie into that mix. Let's not forget Minnie. So, because Minnie, the chapter starts with Minnie. So we have Minnie, Sumi, Mami, all in one big mix, and then we have the birthday arc coming up. And so you're having a lot of good stuff happening rather than like negative, destructive stuff happening. Again, setting the tone for the new year, how things are going to be playing out. So I am excited for next chapter. It's going to be interesting seeing like Kazuya's dynamic with Minnie and Sumi, like how Sumi's going to react to someone like Minnie, who is kind of like almost like the opposite of her. Like Sumi is like the complete opposite of Minnie, where Sumi's very expressive, natural, happy, emotional, and empathetic, while Minnie is a very like blunt, straightforward, horny, dumb fucking character who just kind of says what a lot of the readers are thinking sometimes, because she is supposed to be representative of us in our flaws and our analysis. She's our dramatic irony made into a character. So there is that element to consider too. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think this arc is gonna be really fun and interesting. I'm kind of excited to see what's gonna end up happening moving forward. It's also interesting that the next chapter in this one was called Umikun, and it was the chapter where Kazuya ends up going to the tiger's den, and you have Kazuya probably going to Chizuru's play next time, except it's called Birthday. Yeah, again, there's clear references and things being made. So we got 55, we got chapter 20, and then we got chapter 175. So those are the three ones I could think up off the top of my head, and I do think these are very much intentional here, just as like many of the chapters before this one also did references in a very similar manner. So for now, this is what I've had to say. These are just my quick thoughts and feelings. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this content and what I had to say on this chapter. If you did, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to keep up with the uploads. I've been Fate. I hope this was fun for you guys, and remember, let's mosey. Also, I'll have another video out talking about Mami and all that stuff, so don't you worry about that.